Hi guys, welcome to the channel and welcome to this review of the North Downwind Foil and Stab series. Now, if you've seen my review of the North Downwind Horizon board, you'll know how super stoked I was on it. But look, it's a fine line between ramming a product down your throat and being genuinely excited about it. And these downwind foils, I have to say, sit in the same category for me as the downwind board. I absolutely love it. And I hope that this comes over as a genuine excitement, not just product placement. Now, with that in mind, there are still areas of improvement, like with any product, and I will share those with you. So I'm going to answer the question like why I think these foils are so good and determine whether they are right for you. Like with always, please can you like and subscribe to the channel and share this video as much as possible. It really helps me out. Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about the sizes. Now, this is actually one of the best features of this range, is that they have a size for all levels and all conditions. Now, there are some really good downwind foils out there on the market, but not all have a range that's suitable for absolute beginners all the way through to competing pros. Now, what's more impressive is that there are actually more on the way as well. So once you have fine-tuned your downwind skills, you can really pick and choose. So as it stands, we have a 1400, an 1100, a 900, and a 750. Now I'm going to talk about each one individually, dissect all of the positives and negatives, and identify exactly who it's for. Now, before I do go into the individual sizes, I want to talk about the overall shape and feel of the range. As you'd expect for a downwind foil, the aspect ratio is high. The 1400 comes in at 11.2, the 1100 comes in at 12, the 900 comes in at 13, and then the 750 comes in at 13.3. Now, it's all well and good having a super high aspect foil that glides really well and is super efficient, but if you can't turn it, it's no good as a downwind foil. And this is where these foils really come into their own, because they all, irrespective of the size, have a good turning ratio compared to the size of it. So moving on to the generic profile shape, look, there's a very popular phrase going around at the moment, which is camber. So before we go and talk about it, I just want to identify exactly what camber means. So camber is the measure of the curvature of the foil section. Now, these downwind foils have a very pronounced camber, particularly at the trailing edge. This is almost like having the flaps out on an aircraft. It reduces the stall speed. Now, the negative of that is it has an impact on the top end of the foil. So if you did nothing else, you'd have a really good low end that'd be able to paddle up really quickly, but it would have a terrible top end and you wouldn't be able to keep up with the bumps. So what they've done is reduce the profile thickness throughout the whole of the foil to counter it. So the camber, in combination with a complex foil section and the aspect ratio with good turnability, is what sets these downwind foils apart. So let's start off with the 1400. So this foil is very much for your beginner intermediate. This will take you from never standing on a sup before, to paddling straight, to flat water paddle ups, to going into enclosed water bay runs, to then even in the open ocean. It comes at no surprise that this foil is super easy to flat water paddle up. I wish I had this foil when I was going through my learning journey. It would have made it so much easier. Now, the two elements that I really enjoy with this foil is the fact that actually once you're up, you can still keep up with rolling swells. And this means that it's a foil that's going to take you really from those early stages all the way through to acing your first couple of downwind runs in the ocean. And the second element that sets the 1400 aside from all other foils of its size is that it still turns really well out in the open ocean. And when you start your downwind journey, you're going to be doing a lot of turning. As a great side effect of a foil that has these characteristics, it doubles up really well as a pump foil. You can dock start it and really refine your pumping. It's really versatile, and it's exactly the foil you want when you're learning. With a foil of this span, I do think it's important that you have a very stiff mast. So you either have to go down the aluminium route or the ultra high modulus 80, and that's exactly what I use with it. So let's move now on to the 1100. Now this is my savior foil. This is the foil that I use when the conditions are really average and I'm dying to get out on the water. I can flat water paddle this up, and if there's a sniff of a bump, then up I go, no problems, and I can stay up for the whole run. I can dig myself out of problems. It's really efficient, it glides really well, it still keeps up with relatively big bumps. I've been out in some really sizable 2-meter swells. I had a great time, as long as you pair it with the right tail. This leads me nicely onto my next point, which is you can tune it up or down with the tail really significantly.
All right, so downwind, open ocean run, I've got the 1100 on. I'm actually using the 178 speed tail, and I find that that is a real good combo when the conditions aren't that great. It just seems to give you a little bit more pump, a little bit more low end. So the 1100 is my go-to when I'm not sure about the conditions, because it's got such a great range. It goes in really light conditions, I can flat water paddle it up, but it's got a great top end. And you match it with the right tail, and you really can extend that.
So let's move now onto my most used foil, which is the 900. I love it because it's so versatile. I sup surf it, I wing it, I power wing it, and of course I downwind it in a whole host of conditions, from enclosed water bay runs all the way to big ocean swells. I'm not quite there for flat water paddling it up, I'm very close, but as soon as there's the slightest bump, then I can get it up in no problems whatsoever. But the part that I love about this foil more than anything else is how fun it is. It's so good to turn. It feels like you're surfing a wave. You really can push your limits and take your foiling to the next level. If you're an intermediate to advanced downwinder, I can't recommend this foil enough. It puts such a smile on my face every time I use it. Being a smaller span wing, well, you don't really need an ultra high modulus mast. Now, obviously I have one, so I do use it and it pairs really well, but you absolutely could get away with the standard 72 mast. In terms of fuse, I use the 650 or the 700 depending, and tail, well, predominantly it's the 142 downwind tail, which is paired with, but also I do mix it up with the 178, depending on the energy and the conditions. Now the 750 is the 900 on steroids. It really does take it to the next level, and when the conditions are maxing, this is the foil that you want to be using. Now don't be put off by its size, because I have used this in really small conditions and still being able to paddle up. In fact, where this foil really comes into its own is proning in really small conditions, because it can pump for ages. It also turns really well and is all around generically good foil. Now, interestingly, you don't have to just downwind it. I have winged it and had a great time. In fact, I've winged it in some really light conditions to push it to its limit. Now, like with everything, there is room for improvement. And if it was me making the decisions at the top, I'd probably go down the monoblock route. I think that it will just unlock the next level of efficiency. Now, yes, this would have its problems in terms of traveling, and the cost would probably go up in terms of manufacturing, but I think that would be a price worth paying for that increase in performance. And to be honest with you, that's it. The rest of it is exactly how I would want it. It's very user-friendly, it's super fun, and they've got a really good range for everybody and every condition. I love the fact they use titanium bolts throughout. It really does put the icing on the cake. And the ultra high modulus materials they've used, particularly with the bigger sizes, is a massive advantage. It's a very stiff system, it feels very locked in, and it will improve your downwinding, I have no doubt. So in summary, I have been super impressed with North's direction towards downwinding. I have to be honest, I was a little bit nervous with such a big company going into a very niche element of our sport, but they have nailed it. The board and foil combination works seamlessly together. There's bags of performance there, but they're still user-friendly. They turn well, they're efficient, and above all, they put a smile on your face. They have got me downwinding in conditions that I otherwise wouldn't be able to. The downwind foil range from North has allowed me to develop and increase my skill level, mainly because I have the confidence that I can paddle them up irrespective of the mistakes I make, and that's an element that I love about them. They have something for everybody in every condition, and I have no doubt that I will not outgrow them for a very long time. Look, I hope you've got something out of this. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to type in below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. See you on the water again soon.